Hey guys, today we're going to be talking about factoring expressions. So we've been talking about combining like terms, and now we're going to talk about and kind of like in the distributive property. I know you talked about that a lot with Mr. Cook. We're going to be kind of talking about undistributing expressions, otherwise known as factoring. I got a foster dog yesterday, so she's only staying with me for a little bit until she finds her forever home. But this is Jessie, and she's about 6 weeks old, and she's very sweet. And Hamilton is learning to like her. All right, so first of all, what is a factor? A factor, factors are numbers that we multiply to get other numbers. So for example, 2 and 3 are factors of 6 because 2 times 3 is 6. One number can have a lot of factors. So let's go back to 6 for a minute. What are some other factors of 6? Well, you can do 2 times 3 to get 6, but you can also do 6 times 1 to get 6. So for 6, our factors would be 1, 2, 3, and 6. So let's see here. What are the factors of 24? So first of all, always think about factors in pairs. And you can always start with 1 and the number. So 1, 24. And then it's going to have a factor of 2 because it's an even number. 2 times 12 equals 24. So 12 is another factor. It's going to have a factor of 3. There's Mad Eye Moody. And 3 times 8 is 24. Okay, you guys are just taking over this video. It's going to have a factor of 4. Of 4. There it is. Okay. And 4 times 6 is 24. It does not have a factor of 5 because it doesn't end in a 5 or a 0. And then we get back to 6. So these are our factors. You can write them like this. That's fine. You can think of them like this. You can also rewrite them in order. 1, 3, oops. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 8, 12, 24. All right, so this is just finding the greatest common factor. The greatest common factor is the number that goes into all of these numbers evenly. So sometimes it's actually one of the numbers. In this case, the greatest common factor is going to be 4, because 4 divided by 4 is 1, 4 divided by 12 is 3, and 4 divided by 16 is 4. So 4 goes into all of those evenly. It can't be anything bigger than 4 because 4 is our smallest number, and that's the biggest number you can get. So let's look at this one. So let's first of all check our smallest number. Does 9 go into all of these numbers evenly? No. It does go into 18 evenly, but it does not go into 12 evenly. So let's think about some of 9's factors and see if we can come up with anything else. So 9 times 1 is 9, and 3 times 3 is 9, and that's it. So 1, 3, and 9 are 9's only factors. So let's see if 3 goes into all of these, and it does. So 3 is the greatest common factor because 12 divided by 3 is 4, 18 divided by 3 is 6, and 9 divided by 3 is 3. So you guys are going to do numbers 3 and 4 on your own, on your notes. Find the greatest common factor. When we factor in math, we are finding the actual factors of the expression. That is, we are looking for what was multiplied to get that expression. Thus, we are undistributing. You know, the distributive property is when you take an expression like this. Let's say it was 4 times 2x plus 3. And you distribute. You distribute that 4 to all the numbers inside. You do 4 times 2x, which will give you 8x, plus 4 times 3, which is 12. When we factor, we undistribute. So this is distributing. Going from here, this expression to this expression is a distribution. Going from this expression backwards is factoring. So instead of like putting a number into the expression, we are pulling it out. We're dividing it out. So let's do it with a couple more complex expressions. So what is the greatest common factor of 6 and 10? 6 has those factors we listed earlier, 1, 2, 3, and 6. So which one would match up with 10? You always start with a smaller number to see if it can go evenly into the bigger number. And then if it can't, you look at its factors. So 6, our factors are 1, 2, 3, and 6. 2 is the greatest common factor that also goes into this and this. So we're going to pull out our 2. So 6 divided by 2 is 3, and we cannot forget that variable. So it's 3x, keep the same sign, plus 5, because it's 10 divided by 2. I've pulled out that factor. I've divided out that factor. All right, so now my numbers are negative 4x and negative 10. Remember, you can split expressions by the signs. So negative 4, the factors would be 1, well, because it's a negative number, it's a little tricky, so we're going to do absolute value. So the absolute value factors of 4 would be 1, 2, and 4. What goes into both of these would be 2, because 4 is not evenly divided. So I'm going to pull out, there's 2 ways I can do this. I can pull out a 2. And negative 4 divided by 2 is negative 2. X minus negative 10 divided by 2 is 5. Is negative 5, I'm sorry. So I can do 2 times negative 2x minus 5, or I can pull out a negative 2. But that's going to change my sign. So negative 4 divided by negative 2 is positive 2, because a negative divided by a negative is a positive. So we'd have 2x. Then we have negative 10 divided by negative 2. And again, a negative divided by a negative is a positive. So my answer would be positive 5. Either way, I've factored that expression. I have pulled out a factor and written the expression in parentheses. So try numbers 3 and 4 on your own. Okay, I'm going to skip down to number 6. We're going to do 6 together, and you guys are going to do number 5 on your own. So a rectangle has an area of 9x minus 12. If the width is 3x minus 4, what is the length? We talked about area and perimeter in our last video. So area is equal to length, that's an L, times width. So this is telling me that the area is 9x minus 12 is equal to the length times the width, which it's giving me is 3x minus 4. So basically, I'm saying that this expression times the length is equal to this expression. So I have to figure out what this length is that's going to give me this expression. So let's look at it. So I'm going from a 3x to a 9x. 3 times what equals 9? 3 times 3 equals 9. Let's double check and make sure and see if negative 4 times 3 will give me negative 12. And it does. So my length is 3. Because when I factor out a 3 from from the area that it gives me, that's a 4. When I factor out a 3 from this expression, it gives me this expression. So I know that 3 times this is equal to this. So number 5 is not quite as tricky. Try it on your own. We're going to be practicing a little bit with expressions, distribution, factoring, and all that good stuff today. Maybe even a little bit of area and perimeter.